do we?
We want to welcome back Arthur from his paid leave. You know, he was suspended for 3 weeks for that altercation at Carbach.
We don't want to. Yeah, we don't even want to talk.
Well, I just want to bring up. Do you want to have any opening statements? I mean, the board has already approved your appeal. Do you have anything to say though?
Yeah.
But you don't want to dig any deeper.
Fuck the police. No justice. No peace. I'm back. AJC in the house. Vote for Ted Cruz.
Oh, look. I don't know if you saw I voted today. I went for early voting today.
Oh, yeah? Congrats.
I got a cool little sticker. They give you a sticker before you even vote. So I could have just been like, nah, I'm good. After they gave me the sticker and walked
said, one vote, Martin O'Malley.
Cruz Nation appreciates
Cruz Nation. We're back. We took a little hiatus because of Art's antics.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But, you know, we hold ourselves to a high standard and we hope that our fan can forgive us.
Yeah.
That's okay.
The board approved. We're back.
We're back.
You know, like, this being a podcast about cinema, I thought I'd bring up some cinematic points from my trip.
Nice.
Okay, so...
trip to the clink.
On the way there, you know, I watched the in-flight movie.
Okay.
And I watched Jumanji. Have y'all seen
like
Jumanji?
the new one or
the new one?
No.
Oh, with The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
How was it?
You were opening up like a new dimension.
Like one of those creatures.
Golden Drake got Daniel feeling throwed and peptic.
As always.
But
how long was the flight? You flew out as
Houston,
our
I
local.
Yeah.
10 hours.
Damn close. 12.
Oh, damn! I was about to say 16.
You
flew into
about 12.
Munich.
Straight Houston to Munich.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
airspeed of 80 miles per hour. Woo!
80 miles per hour. Yeah, I mean.
Do planes use miles per hour?
Knots.
Oh, do they use knots as well? Really?
But they go like 550 miles per hour.
Yeah, they never had the MPH on it.
If you there's a Snapchat filter that gives your current speed, and if you take a picture on a plane, it says like 520
that's
miles
awesome.
per
That's
hour.
fucking
sick. That's cool.
I've done that on takeoff where it's
nervous.
like I'm looking out the window, it's like 180.
That's pretty cool.
But like, oh shit.
I love it. I would love if Snapchat said slow the fuck down. But it's funny, like even when you open it up, just going at any speed, it says please don't drive and snap.
Oh yeah.
Like something comes up at the bottom.
And Snapchat, what a bygone era, at least for me. You know,
dude, that's how young people communicate. That's
still.
Yeah, that's the way they do it. That's their like main way.
But I thought there was a big upheaval after that update, because that's why I stopped using it. It just became really inconvenient.
Nah, I mean, it's because what else are they gonna use? Instagram is for older people. Facebook is for ancient people. Twitter's for adults.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, like in general.
To me, Twitter is
what a statement. That's the title right there. Twitter
to me,
is for adults.
Twitter is for like entertainers, journalists, corporate accounts, and people trying to break into entertainment.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
right? Like
this is the worst kind of people. It's
It's
the lowest common denominator of comedian.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a social LinkedIn. It's like you want to impress LinkedIn people.
it's like I like,
but what I'm trying to say is like, what application still caters to a certain degree to young people besides Snapchat? What's the alternative to
TikTok.
Snapchat?
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
It's a new Vine.
Oh, okay.
It's like short videos that people use to like dub their voices.
it looks
over
just
things.
as garbage.
And
everything I've seen is just cringe videos.
Pretty much
from
everything
it.
catered to the youth is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's like
They know too much.
and it's only gonna get worse because every new big thing that breaks out, everyone's gonna try and become a Vine star on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone's gonna try to become the TikTok star, the whatever the next thing is.
It's like on any popular Twitter account, like the top comment is some asshole doing some bit. It's
Yeah.
just, oh god.
But it's like, that being said, real quick, what is your favorite social media platform?
Me?
Pick one. Yeah.
I'd probably say Instagram. I like Instagram's discover feature. It's helped me find pages that I like because like it learns, and it's creepy, but it learns like what you like looking at, and so now my feed is just it's seriously just it's seriously just Ben Shapiro stuff, Jordan Peterson stuff, and it's like funny stuff that I would find humorous, and cars.
Yeah.
And it's a good mix of both.
Funny stuff that he would find humorous. Cars.
And cars.
Okay.
It's at that ratio.
What's your Instagram feed look like? Discover.
It's
Like
just,
a Discover
it's just my
feed.
friend. Oh, I never look at it.
You don't
Oh,
look
you
at the
don't?
little. You don't look at the little like.
I do occasionally,
Yeah.
but it's always just stuff from other people that I'm not following, but other people I am following.
That you follow that they
Yeah,
follow.
it's
Yeah,
just like
That's a
people-
major part of their
Yeah, I don't.
algorithm. Is mine is like
Yeah. What's your favorite though? What's your favorite?
your
social
favorite
media?
platform.
Probably Twitter,
Okay.
because I'm off with multiple accounts.
Whoa.
Mess
Whoa, dude.
The Videodrome.
Multi-tweeting, dude.
Yeah.
You're like the
Multi.
first person I know personally who's
Who has multiple Twitter accounts?
who's big into Twitter.
I'm not big into it.
Is Reddit considered a social media?
No,
Mm,
it's a website.
for the smart
It's a
people, it is.
forum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an image/message
Yeah,
board.
I still go to Reddit a lot, but yeah, I like Instagram, and my Instagram is mostly half humorous things divide like of my mini interests.
Dank
So-
memes and cursed
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah, so it's like that. There's like a lot of MMA, boxing.
Dude, yeah,
Sports.
MMA stuff comes
See,
up.
that's why I like Twitter. I get stuff about football teams. And
Yeah,
whatever,
well,
so.
yeah. If you have Twitter, you know
Yeah.
first off
Mm-hmm.
what sports stuff is popping.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. That was why I tried to get on it so I could know
Mm.
when my team made moves. But like, and Nalgas, like
Nice.
like when I first started, I didn't know how Discover worked. Like I thought you had to follow stuff for it to learn.
Mm-mm. You just have to
I would
look.
just
You
like
have to
tap,
open it.
tap right.
Dangerous
And so
game.
my Discovery was like half booties. And it was kind of embarrassing to be in public and just like, and a fraction of those were anime booties. So it's like, oh,
Nice.
this is extra embarrassing. But you know, I'm a man, and I got needs.
You got
and
anime needs.
And Instagram says,
You got 2D needs.
yeah. But anyway, so cinema, right?
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
7 minutes in.
a natural segue into.
Alright.
yeah.
But I want to talk about my airplane movies real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Jumanji.
Jumanji. I give it a B. Fucking. Then
What was your favorite thing about the movie? Just in a sentence. What's the thing you like the most about it?
I liked Jack Black and Kevin Hart.
Okay.
I thought they were solid, supporting. They had some gags which were like really juvenile, maybe outdated, because like Jack Black is a character as if this teenage girl gets sucked into his body, so he's just like
Freaky Friday.
yeah, he's
Nice.
just kind of over it, and it's also like, oh look, fat guy talking like
that?
a
Yeah.
girl. That's funny. So, but it still appeals to my lizard brain. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do on a 12-hour flight?
Right, but the other movie I watched was so bad, and it was Baywatch.
Oh, who was that? Was that
two,
also The Rock?
Two Rock
Yeah.
movies?
Yeah, I the first one I was like, okay, cool, combo, and then it was like, no, combo breaker,
Oh,
and that movie was horseshit. What was really interesting though was it reminded me of this really bad foreign movie I watched with Jackie Chan, and it turns out it had like this big like Chinese production company behind it.
Okay.
Like half the movie is in slow mo, and not just like for the Baywatch tribute. Like half of everything is them like a really poor Fast and Furious imitation. You know, like or Ocean's 11 where they walk in and they're casing the place. Like every time they enter a new scene,
It's that.
That
it
sounds
breaks
so
down
fucking-
slow. It is so fucking bad.
No, would like
picture
like,
that like sophomoric filmmaking.
yeah, I'm like,
Oh,
what do you think there was even the slightest hint of irony, or not irony, but sarcasm to them doing that, or like
No.
self-awareness? Was there any self-awareness in that movie?
There's like some where, but it's super bad. It's like, so yeah, there's like, oh, there's the Hasselhoff, and or like they call out like, is he in slow mo? Like, but it's no more than like
So they took the
scary,
wrong approach to it.
scary
Sure.
movie 4,
Sure.
you know, and it's like because at first I was like, oh, you know, I like most movies. The Rock is in. Like I thought it was gonna be like 21 Jump Street. I was like, you don't need. No, it is. It's fucking bad. It was one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time. It was probably the worst movie I've seen since Ridiculous 6.
Man,
Yeah, it
Wow.
was complete dog shit. But
you're the only
it
one
just
brave
two
enough to
movies?
actually
Yeah.
watch that movie.
which one? Ridiculous
Yeah.
Six?
Yeah.
Me and
Yeah, you weren't even stuck on a flight when you watched that.
No, and I had to turn it on and off a few times to get through it, but
Were those the only two movies?
yeah, and on the way back I watched Incredibles 2.
How was that? I haven't seen it yet.
I know you like it a lot, so I'm not going to spoil it,
Mm.
but I'm still trying to figure out, it's not a major plot point. What happened to the Underminer? Like, he's there, and then he's gone.
You know what? The only
I'm still
other
trying
time
to figure out what happened to
I've-
the Underminer.
I've heard that complaint. The only time, and this is the only thing I know, that Pixar has ever even referenced the Underminer. There was a Game Boy Advance game called The Incredibles: The Return of the Underminer. That is the only other time they've ever mentioned the Underminer.
Extended universe.
Besides the 2 seconds
Extended
that he says,
universe.
Yeah. That's the only time they ever reference him.
Yeah.
Besides the end of that first movie.
But yeah,
And that game was bad.
that movie, it was completely competent. It was super. I mean, I give that one like a B plus, A
Nice.
minus.
Okay.
It's a good movie.
And you know what? I think not all, but most Pixar sequels deserve a B plus, A minus.
I haven't seen Finding Dory.
Except for,
I had
except for Cars 3.
and I had a feeling. Did you see Cars 2?
I did see Cars 2.
Cars 2 was so fucking bad.
Yeah.
So much so I never watched Cars 3. And I'm a goofball. I
Well,
like cartoons.
let me a quick rundown. In Cars 3, Mater becomes like a double agent.
That's
like not
Cars
double,
2,
like
dude.
oh no, is that Cars 2? What's
That's
Cars?
Cars 2.
Oh, Cars 3 is whenever he passes the torch onto a lady driver.
Oh.
This like girl car who's coaching him, and then she becomes. Anyway.
We're splitting hairs about cars.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a PhD to understand the fine intricacies.
Toy Story 2 is, I think,
Car world.
the best Pixar sequel.
It is.
I would honestly say it's good, if not better than Toy Story 1.
Yeah, but
I think Toy Story 2 is one of Pixar's finest films, actually.
yeah, it is really good. I'm trying to think if they have any other sequels that are really badass. Like Incredibles 2 is not better.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters University was alright.
It was decent.
Yeah.
It should have been better.
Yeah.
They fucked up by doing a prequel.
Yeah.
You didn't need to do a prequel. They should have done a true sequel.
Yeah.
And then they fucked up with Incredibles because they should have hit that iron
Yeah.
while it was still hot.
Yeah.
But
It's like
whatever, man.
13 years later.
Yeah.
But you know what Disney's not about? Disney is about like fucking lame ass kids movies.
Yeah. Dumb baby, stupid shit.
Dumb
idiot
baby stuff.
baby
And you know what's the opposite of Disney? Fucking horror movies,
This is
bro.
an adult podcast.
God damn it.
Nice.
And
You got
you know
the
what it
arm,
is?
it's just-
It's fucking October, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And you know what I'm about?
What you about?
I'm about people getting killed and putting D's in some A's.
Nice.
Right? And so that's why
Districts and attorneys. Come on, y'all.
That's why for my movie I chose one that I'd never seen before that I was interested
None of
in.
us had seen.
Yeah.
And most people I don't think have seen it.
Did you? Okay, yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
Go ahead, ask me.
Oh, I don't remember if you said it was a John Carpenter movie.
It is a John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, I just don't remember if you said that when you said when you picked it. It took me by surprise,
So
and I got excited.
I did a very, very tiny bit of research, but what else is John Carpenter known for?
Have you ever seen The Thing? The original,
Oh,
not the original.
Okay,
but
so I did learn about
the
that.
famous
It's
one.
it's the trilogy, right? It's
The
Thi-
Apocalypse
it's the,
trilogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Thing. It's In the Mouth of Darkness, and then what? Not
close.
was it In the
Prince
Mouth
of Darkness, right? And In the Mouth of Badness.
It is
Or
It's,
something like
it's
that.
the Prince of Darkness in the
yeah,
mouth
it's
of
Prince of Darkness and
in the mouth of
Madness.
Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah. This movie is In the Mouth of Madness.
Yes.
Yeah. And
John Carpenter is typically known for his practical horror effects and scores.
They're awesome.
Right.
My goodness.
he does a lot of his own
You should see The Thing.
scores too. But yeah, so that's what I was going to open with. So first two, I kind of asked y'all briefly before, but starting off, okay, what's your familiarity with John Carpenter? Have you seen any of his movies?
The Thing.
Okay, you've seen The Thing?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't
Okay.
seen. Well, I've seen parts of Big Trouble in Little China,
Okay.
but I didn't.
Was
care
that
for
him as well?
I don't like that
Yeah.
movie.
Okay.
Okay, so
I like The Thing a lot. I think that was a really interesting horror story.
yeah, it's a masterful
Yeah.
horror movie.
And like a really well received one too.
And it has also the best. It's probably the peak practical effects.
Better than Videodrome?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah, I think so by far.
yeah, it's oof.
You got to look at it.
There-
Like, it's
Better than
unmatched.
Basket Case?
Basket Case. I only know about Basket Case from like Supercuts, and I'm like, what is that movie? And like, God bless the people who like make the list at the top.
Yeah.
It's like minute 1 through 30 seconds is Basket Case. Yeah, no, but shout outs to Basket Case.
Shouts out.
Okay, so his Darkness or his Apocalypse trilogy, those aren't even his most well-known movies. So I would say his most well-known movies is
Escape
number
from New
1,
York.
guys. No.
Oh
Halloween.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow. Okay.
Halloween. Dun, dun, dun,
Which
dun,
had
dun, 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 dun.
a sequel come out or whatever.
Yeah,
recently.
I heard it was good.
Yeah.
John Carpenter sadly passed away recently.
Oh no.
So rips John Carpenter.
This one's for you.
At least I think so. I really
I
hope
don't
I'm not
think he's
confusing that with Wes Craven, because I know Wes
I
Craven
don't think
did
he's
pass
dead.
away.
I think Wes Craven.
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven is dead.
All right.
I don't think John Carpenter is.
John Carpenter age.
John Carpenter is 70 years old.
Oh,
Is
thank Jesus,
present
he's still
tense.
here. All right.
He's still with us.
Oh Jesus! All right.
Well, now we've placed the curse upon him.
Yeah, and so his other big movies are Escape from New York, Escape from L.A., The Fog, and They Live. They Live is a really big one. But this movie really captivated my interest because of its subject matter and because Sam Neill was in it, honestly.
Huge fan.
And he's...
Okay.
Well,
In
here's
this
what I'll say.
movie-
I have seen Jurassic Park a million times, and that's why I feel a connection to it.
Yeah. Have you seen Event Horizon?
I have not.
So he's kind of known, or like a marker for being in some underrated, like, horror movies in the 90s that people just kind of breeze over.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the reason why I wanted to watch it. And I thought it'd be cool watching it for the first time along with you guys.
Yeah.
So what did y'all know about H.P. Lovecraft before this?
I'm somewhat well versed in his stuff, but not like extensively.
Yeah, I would say about the same. I know it's cosmic horror stuff.
So
Knowing the forbidden.
In the
stuff.
Mouth of Madness is directly referencing a story of his called In the Mountains of Madness.
yes. And so have y'all read any of his short stories?
I have not.
I've only read the Dunwich Horror,
Okay.
but I've seen
I-
documentaries on him and about his life. I haven't really read into his actual work.
I've
though.
read some stuff about Cthulhu, but
So like kind of you get like the cultural
yeah.
memery, I guess, of
Yeah.
it. Like you know who Cthulhu is.
And we have also played Bloodborne.
Yeah. And okay. So good to get that stuff out of the way. So this is a 1995 movie. Wikipedia calls it psychological horror.
Okay.
And
I don't know if I'd agree with that.
it's
Psychological thriller, maybe.
I would say horror.
I would say it's horror, but I argue on the psychological. I guess.
I think the
See,
psychological is
that's
important.
That's the operative term for you, the psychological part?
That's the one that I'm kind of tripped up on. To me, it's like when you get to the points of like, just because something is heady or abstract doesn't mean
it's psychological.
it's psychological.
But in this case, it's specifically psychological because it's about someone's literal
insanity.
mental breakdown.
That was my take, at least.
Yeah, and when you put it like that, I guess you have me like like I'll concede that. Yeah.
No, but I would say
I'm not gonna die on
psychological.
this
I would
hill.
say psychological horror, personally.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, you're right. It's hard to argue when he's in a psych ward.
Yeah.
So all the movie is just working back from how'd you end up in the psych ward?
Yeah.
Well, he had a mental breakdown.
I went crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna die on this hill. All right.
There are better hills to die on.
Oh, goddamn right. The Metallica hill.
Okay. This is the thing that I looked up. This is the thing when I first heard that theme, I'm like, I need to know everything about this. So I don't know.
Are you talking about the opening theme?
Yeah.
That was made. I
And
turned
closing.
that on. And I was like, God, why?
Yeah. So
I was very taken aback. It
We're off
was,
to 1995.
Okay.
it was what Daniel would describe as jarring.
it was very jarring. So what? So
I was not expecting it.
here's.
I didn't like it.
I liked it.
I thought it was
I
terrible.
was super into it.
I thought
I liked
that took me out immediately. I was like, why is that their choice? They could have chosen any song and it would be very effective.
Here's the thing. What would have really blown is if they had done like reprises to that theme in the middle of the movie, but they did it.
No.
That would be terrible.
Because
that would take out all, like...
I'm able to enjoy it because it was only the intro and the outro.
That would take... Well, okay, I thought the outro took all the gravity out of it, too. It was just like...
Yeah, imagine what...
This made it seem like a fun little romp, almost.
You know that part whenever the painting turns around and looks at the lady? Imagine if you heard, yeah!
Or just like a ripping...
like a pig slide. Just...
Whammy bar.
Ooh, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
so I wrote down two things. I wrote down two things about this theme.
Okay.
The first thing, rad ass intro music.
I wrote rocket ass intro.
Yeah. Okay, so
I wrote rat ass. No, excuse me, rad.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
on
Thanks.
Rat ass.
So the second thing I wrote, and this is actually a quote that John Carpenter said. I'm paraphrasing. Jargon. He said someone chose to Enter the Sandman as part of the temp score for the film. Everyone seemed to like it, so they composed a piece similar to Enter the Sandman. And here's what I
Expecting
say.
like a football team to run out.
So there are three people who wrote the score to this movie, and John Carpenter was heavily involved in it, as he is, like you were saying, with the rest of
he's
stuff.
a noted composer.
I can't remember the third person. My apologies, but the second person was a guy named Dave Davies, and he's the backing singer for the Kinks.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and he helped write the score for this movie, and he specifically he played the guitar parts for any part in the movie that had a guitar.
Yeah. Luckily, not too many.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah,
and
all two parts.
I'll say I like it because
Yeah, it was
I
just-
like Metallica.
Yeah,
That theme...
I agree with Chris in the fact that I could.
if there was any more of it,
but
besides this,
also
It does not set the appropriate
the
tone.
end.
No.
Yes, the end was what really...
The end is a detriment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it. Like it's to me completely harmless at the beginning, but maybe some negative.
You know, if you could switch the Cannibal Holocaust theme
Ooh,
with that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Or like when they're doing
horror
like,
movies have the best.
the
themes.
introduction
Yeah.
when they're in the psych ward and they play that calming music over the PA system, that would have been a perfect intro
Yeah.
music.
Dude. But
It's not some
movie
ripping
had some great
guitar.
sounds. Like
yeah.
the sound composition in this movie. So I watched it on my computer with headphones.
I watched it on my phone with headphones.
Dude, awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, the stereo effect that they give you is awesome.
Yeah. So intro of the movie, right?
Not the strongest point to me.
No. And let me flat off say, by far the weakest part of the movie is the first act.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
In fact,
Strongest to me is the second.
half of the second. No, to me, from the peak of the movie to the end, is the best.
See,
But
I thought
we'll talk about that.
the exact middle, when like things are starting to unravel but not too much, that's like, okay,
Right.
I'm into this.
But to me, that's the most intriguing part.
Yeah.
But to me, like the straight up most fun part is when
The end. Yeah.
everything
Oh, see,
goes to shit.
I feel like when everything is pulled back, it was pulled back a little too much, and I was like, you showed your cards
Yeah.
like you showed your hand, and it's not as interesting anymore.
But yeah. So first part's not the best,
Yeah.
but let's go over it anyway. So
It like that scene where he's interrogating that guy that's trying to commit fraud. Like I get that sets the stage for who he is, but it's like
right.
that scene didn't afford anything for his character later. He was never hard on someone and then it failed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because that's what you want to show, right? It's just
Right,
he's a hardcore claims adjuster or whatever. And
Right.
he always wins, but
He's a skeptic,
yeah.
and he's always looking for the con.
I wanted to point
As
out
they
really quick.
Talked about that later.
I think this movie got a 56 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes,
And I totally get it. I get it. I get why half the people liked it and half the people didn't.
Yeah.
well,
That totally makes sense
but,
to me.
but here's the thing: did you read the reviews?
No, I didn't read reviews.
The audience metric to me in this one is the most accurate. The audience metric gives it like a 77,
Yeah.
which to me is exactly correct because 77's a little over a third of the movies say that's a deficit, right? And to me, that's the whole first part, right? And maybe ending with Metallica,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a perfect movie.
No.
But the rest
Yeah,
is
no.
great. And here's the thing. So if you look at the reviews, like he said, it's like 50, right? And like I said, the mid 70s is accurate. half the critics like it, half it didn't. When I read the reviews of the critics, half of the critics didn't get it at all. They said, oh, it's a wacky movie that can't keep its plot together.
I actually, let me amend my statement. I watched one review, and it was a Roger Ebert one.
Yeah.
And he had this to say. He was basically like, I think they just missed an opportunity to make it a biting social commentary about like the strength of media and how it can just make people crazy. I was like, I don't think that. Well, that's not what they were going for.
No.
And that's not what this genre ever goes for. That's just, he missed the point.
No,
and I like Roger Ebert typically, but he just totally missed the idea.
Well, the thing was, he was judging it through the lens of what he wants from John Carpenter, which is They Live, which They Live is overt political satire, media satire, whereas this movie is not that. But at the same time, to me, the weak point of this movie is dialogue.
Yes, the weak point to me in this movie is acting. Overall,
dialogue, acting, and because, what was I gonna say? So, like, we talked about how The Thing is John Carpenter's, next to Halloween, his most impactful movie, and they would say Thing is probably the most masterful, right? What's great about The Thing is that there's nothing in that movie that lends itself to as much hokey dialogue as trying to set up an insurance salesman. I mean, an insurance adjuster, examiner, whatever the fuck he is. But at any rate, so at the beginning of the movie, he comes in, he's going into the insane asylum, right? So he meets the doctor, Dr. Saperstein, and you already know, I thought he was going to do something at the end because he looks crazy.
Yeah, he had the big hair.
Yeah. He just asks a couple questions, and that's really his role.
And so when Sam Neill's whooping people, he's just sitting there with like no regards for his own safety.
Yeah.
Just like that really annoying scientist character. I thought he would have more relevance. I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, because like
a stupid hallmark
a hallmark of most cosmic horror stories is the mad scholar.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of like thrown in there.
Could be that. But he wasn't. So Sam Neill goes into his room. All he requests is a crayon. Another investigator or something comes in, and Sam Neill has been in there, we don't know how long, but he's got all the crosses drawn everywhere.
Who was
drawn
it?
on himself.
Who was that investigator? Because even the signs ask him, things are going to shit out there, aren't they? Like, what is his role? What is he?
Right.
Who was he?
Those are other things which are little knocks against the movie, because it's also like, why? Like, I was still trying to figure out, what is the insurance claim?
Yeah.
It's funny when you watch. It's funny when you watch like a really good movie and then you come to one that's like mixed, and it's like, I kind of like, this stuff adds up. It's like weird little things here and there.
Right.
You catch on
which is kind of fun for us to discuss, because most movies we've done a few so bad it's good, and we've done a lot of movies which are good, at least in the fact that they're cohesive.
Yeah.
And this movie,
it's not bulletproof.
Is a mixed.
Yeah.
I think it falls mostly good.
Yeah,
but,
okay. The thing I like about this movie is that it is flawed, but it has really good intentions.
Right.
For what the story they want to tell.
It swings for the fences. And but there's there's a lot of stuff where it's like, so he begins his flashback, which we're in the flashback for the rest of the movie, and he has this introduction scene where he's grilling this guy for an insurance thing, exposes him as a fraud, and watching the scene, I noticed that what Sam Neill starts off doing is he's doing a New England accent.
And then goes to British.
I thought he sounded like a rejected James Bond, and he acted like it too.
Yeah.
Like calling his the female just like by her last name, just Styles. Come over here, please. It's like,
right, but and also to me it was like, I don't think he was miscast. I think he did.
I don't know.
It's like, so he really fucked up with the accent.
It was bad.
The accent.
It really took
There's parts in the car where he completely gives up.
Yeah.
On the accent, right?
Yeah. Whenever he blows that horn, he's just like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
I felt like it kind of unraveled as it went on. Yeah.
Yeah. No. If you watch the car scene, at the beginning of the car scene when it hits dark, and No, before it starts. After he wakes her up in the day, he completely drops it for the entire scene. He has a New Zealand accent. And then, but there are points where he's trying to do New England, but then we found out, like, they're in New York, but they go to New England, because he goes, I saw her, you know?
Yeah.
He says the car, you know, these are all New England things, which makes sense because H.P. Lovecraft.
Maybe he was just trying to do a transatlantic voice, but not succeeding.
But like, to me, what's up is I get how the accent is part of acting, and it's a major part because you really succeed no matter how crazy your goal is when you don't allow people to suspend their disbelief for the purpose of the piece of art in front of you. And his accent's just so bad it fucks it up.
Yep. Yeah. The whole time that's all I could focus on when he was talking.
But what really sucks is like his visual cues, everything else, his emotion, everything else is on point. He does a fantastic job. But it's like, that accent it's fucking.
That was boo boo.
Like, I have all kinds of, like, I try to write phonetically, like the crazy ass shit he says. But so, you know, he does the insurance thing, and then you know, okay, they're at a cafe afterwards, talking about this deal with the book, and you see this guy with an axe from outside the diner, even though they don't, and he approaches them at the window.
Speaking of funny accents or voices,
oh yeah,
he breaks through the window and goes, "Do you read Sutter Kane?
Do you read Sutter Kane?
Sutter Kane?"
And so it's like, you know, this movie is mixed because like that scene's cool when for an extended time they're talking and he's just coming at them. I love that shit. But then it goes hokey because when the cops shoot him, it's like, this is a rated R movie, dude. Use squibs. Yeah. You know, make it kind of...
Don't have cutaway close-ups of the guns.
Yeah, just muzzle flash. Muzzle flash. Yeah. You know, he's changing. And then he falls. And
Did this movie feel like maybe in the shooting process it was a little rushed, maybe?
Like, do you mean like everything was first take?
Or like somewhere around there, yeah.
Could have been.
I could see
there were a couple moments where I thought that I wish I'd written down like the specific scenes, but like
genre movies tend to be constrained, and so time is money, and they spent a lot of money on these badass effects that are very short, but are super cool. So I could definitely see how they were super limited in that time, and
especially for scenes that they didn't feel were quote unquote that important or like that integral to, like, you know, this is a horror movie. At the end of the day, we're gonna spend the time and money on the things that, you know, make this a horror
like just movie. Things that like when you watch it you're like, what was that? Like when he wakes her up in the car and then she starts hitting him, then he's like, what did I do? It's like, what do you mean? It's like, what was it's just that kind of thing.
What was the point of that?
Like, why did that stay in?
I mean, I think that's supposed to insert levity. It doesn't. It's
supposed it doesn't.
It's supposed to insert romantic tension. It doesn't.
Which was forced.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It was literally like, she's going with you. Okay.
All right. Yeah. But
hey, how many movies have we picked where there's a scene where the guy leans over like this on a wall?
Oh, Blade Runner.
Like, how many have we seen?
I wrote a note about that. Many. The lean.
Yeah.
And it's like later I have in my notes, and punches her in the fucking face, keeping in theme with our other picks. I'd like to point out, and guys, please back me up, this is not intentional. That this keeps happening.
No, we didn't know. Yeah.
That women keep
none of us have seen it. Yeah.
Fucked up. In these movies. I don't support it.
Yeah, me neither.
But you know,
me neither.
Sutter Kane.
It took a little while there.
On the other hand, get with the program. Oh man, guys, I had a sick joke that we missed.
Oh no, what was it?
You know how he drew all the crosses in the room?
Uh-huh.
And I wrote, has decorated his room in the style of Tim Tebow.
Nice. See, I was thinking more like Joker, like New Age Jared Leto Joker with the ha 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 written all over him.
Bazinga. But
I don't know, like, here's the thing for me that like interested me about the movie. My parents watched movies and they would be like, hey, go to your room, we're gonna watch an adult movie. Not an adult movie, but like,
my parents
we're gonna watch a grown-up movie. This movie, especially like in the style and like, you know, like, because it was the 90s when they would watch those movies, and I'd be like, this feels like a movie I shouldn't watch. Like this movie feels like a movie that like I would not have been able to watch when I was a kid.
Yes.
And that interests me a lot.
You can hear the sound design, it being distinctly from the 90s.
Yeah.
And like maybe what you're thinking, and me too, like I could hear from my room like Con Air sounds.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a rated R movie that came out in the mid 90s.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally.
And that
Patriot
that
games.
that interested me.
I remember
a lot.
my parents watching Crash. That's what I remember.
You poor thing.
That Oscar bait bullshit movie.
I thought it was so profound when it came out.
Yeah, but now everybody hates it, right?
Yeah, everyone does hate it. And like I don't change my mind about what made me feel because in that one. Did you see it?
No, I never saw it. I just
okay, never mind.
Heard like retrospective reviews.
Watch it for yourself. I think that
the one movie I can distinctly
It's not
remember,
great.
like to not get too far off topic. The one movie I can distinctly remember is my parents watching Braveheart. They had the 2 VHS set.
Damn.
Because that's how long the movie was. It came in 2 VHSs.
That the Green Mile.
Yeah.
We
you
had
saw
the
some
Green
guy
Mile.
get Morningstar.
Yeah, yeah. There's a scene where Braveheart is doing his rounds, and I walked out of my room and I looked at the TV, and this guy gets a Morningstar to the face. No, he gets a flail to the face. Like the guy wakes up, he goes, "Oh!" and he gets this huge 6-pound hunk of metal shoved in his mouth. It's like
sounds cool.
I've never seen something like that before, and it was awesome.
That is. I mean, like, no, but yeah, like I completely agree with what you say, and like I think that's maybe why I like late 80s and 90s movies so much, is that like I do get nostalgic for it, and I think that there's an aesthetic and everything all on its own that can be appreciated that I can't yet get from, say, movies of the 2000s. Like when it comes to movies of the 2000s and forward, it's like I can either purely appreciate them for craftsmanship, plot, the bones, but I can't like.
You can't reminisce about them. You can't.
Yeah, there's not like a shared aesthetic that makes me feel a type of way.
Yeah.
Yet, but I'm sure there will be. Time will pass. And
yeah, sure, because that's just the way that things
like I already feel that way, say, about music. But to me, music changes much, much more quicker. So like when I hear
and much more dramatically, I'm sure.
Like when I hear Puddle of Mud, you know what I'm saying? Like that makes me feel a type of way.
Yeah,
for sure. She fucking hates me, bro. Shout outs to Puddle of Mud. But any rate, so they have this stupid claim. I don't understand it. Do y'all understand it? Why do they need him?
The publishing company.
Not James Bond. Double Indemnity. Have you seen Double Indemnity?
I have not. No.
Never mind. All right, that's who Sam Neill's trying to be.
Like from the publishing company.
Yeah, why do they need him?
I don't know.
Insurance
and I was paying.
right?
Yeah, but what's the insurance thing?
I don't know.
That the author's missing? How do you know
that?
Well, because he's an asset for the company, maybe. That would be my guess. But still, why would you not get a detective?
Yeah, or call the police. Just in general, like
it's a half-baked story. That's why.
Man, I cut my finger.
But
Fuck.
like,
Anyway.
the thing is like, I can definitely see how the scriptwriter, all this part, Act 1, is all bullshit to him. Because there's no heart in it, right? It's all bullshit. It's all just tick for tat.
It's a means to an end, I think.
Exactly.
I think the reason he's not like the main character isn't a cop is because they wanted him to be somewhat vulnerable, but then again he never shows anything like that, so it's like what was the point?
Right, a regular man stumbling upon the unfathomable.
Right.
But at the same time it's like, he's doing
his
half
only,
James Bond, half
his only
noir
strength
detective.
His only strength is skepticism.
Right.
That's the only thing they gave us that like
frustrating skepticism too.
And he doesn't have much of a personality at all.
Yeah.
But once again, I don't understand the insurance game, but it doesn't matter because we get introduced to the idea of Sutter Kane, who is, in their own words,
Stephen King.
better than Stephen King. Even though like all the art from the books is
super Stephen King.
Stephen King, but it's not a real jab because John Carpenter directed Christine by Stephen King. Also, Stephen King is a gigantic fan of H.P. Lovecraft as well. You know, it's all the same waters. But so he goes and looks at the book. He's experiencing all this weird stuff. He sees a cop in the alleyway beating a guy. He turns around. You want a piece of this? Yeah. You know, and so like Videodrome, this is the cool. Did y'all think about Videodrome when watching this? Aside from the practical effects, and also thinking, where does the reliable narration begin and end?
Yeah.
That's what I found myself thinking.
Yeah.
And
well, see, I didn't think of it so much as like it was him personally going crazy and seeing things. It was just the layers of the universe being peeled back, and he was witnessing it.
That's so cool because, like, to me, it's not bad writing that I couldn't point out the spot, right? Because we'll talk more about when we get to the end, but the most logical thing you could say is the point where he read the book was when he quit, when everything quit being reliable narration. But the thing is he has the meeting in the office when Miss Styles exists, which we find she may not have ever. But what that also means is that even from the beginning,
he was already being.
It's all been rewritten. You know. And what's also cool about a movie like this is like for a second I'm like, I'm obsessed with what really happened, but this thing never happened to begin with. It's fiction. But you know, it's like,
well, that's why this is the kind of movie that's so much fun to talk about,
right? Because
it's not perfect and there's no set in stone answer.
The thing I appreciate about it is, so you know, it takes place in a psych ward, and it puts you through the motions of somebody ending up there. When you start off seeing them, he must be crazy. But what this movie does really well is it's just like, it's not the person that goes crazy, it's what they're witnessing that goes crazy. You know what I mean? It's just like the way they interpret things fucks up. And, you know, to them, I'm sure they're fine. To them, I'm sure they think they're perceiving things normally. But something is wrong.
But it's like, to me,
well, like, it's like that's the unreliable narrator. To them, that's the truth. That's it. That makes sense to them, but everyone else who's not witnessing it,
it's like this you're crazy.
But and even it's like when you think about yourself, because at first I'm like, you're right, Danny, but then I'm like, but then he acts as a guy in the head. Like I would say I did everything that he did, I would see myself becoming very unstable, right? I'd probably retreat into my Catholicism and lock myself in a room, just preparing my soul for the eventual end. And hopefully I'm right, Cthulhu's not right, somehow, please God. And
that, I thought, actually, in relation to that, one of the coolest things that happens is when he finally thinks he gets away and he gets the package. It's like there is just no
escape.
But it's like, so like I said, the hatchet thing, but here's the thing, is that things start becoming dream logic. But it's real, right? So I've been in a dream. And you think it's so real, and I've acted in ways in dreams which I don't think, you get what I'm saying? So if I was stuck in dream logic,
you like agree to something that doesn't make any sense.
So if I was stuck in dream logic, maybe I would be like, well, this guy's an agent of this force, I'm gonna hatchet him in the head. If all of a sudden, like in his own, like in the thing, a hatchet just appears in my hand. This is if it just did an abrupt cut and I was just in this evil cathedral running away from things 5 seconds ago, like, I wouldn't even think about it, you know, like that. So maybe not. But to me, like, that whole part at the end is very masterful. But so
the quick jumping between scenarios.
There's so much I could like to get into there. But at any rate, so they go to investigate the Sutter Kane guy. His new novel's on the rise. They have some bullshit thing. They send this young lady who is a poor man's Rosario Dawson to go with him. And so they have to go to New England, of course.
New Hampshire, I think specifically.
Right. Of course. And so they're driving there. You know, they have that bullshit scene we talked about where she falls asleep and he wakes her up. There's no reason for that. He's an asshole and she's an idiot because he's driving. But driving safety is of no concern in this movie.
No.
And eventually, they feel like they're lost. They switch drivers, and she passes a young man on the road who's got the card.
Yeah.
So there is some kind of relation to why when she starts driving this happens, right? It's because she's read part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I didn't figure that out until later.
How far in advance does she know the end?
She'd only read like the first couple chapters, I think.
No, she knows the end. That's a big
does
part.
she?
That's the big part of why
no.
she can't go.
Well, no,
she says I've read it all.
Well, I thought.
Well, that's at the end.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's when
he
what's his
shoves her
face
face.
shoves her face into the boat.
She has the manuscript like towards the beginning, and she's read some of it. That's like the key to why they finally get transported, I think.
But you know what I love so much? And we're talking about dream logic again, which is why I'm so glad I watched this movie. I am so happy that I was curious, and I was like, I went on a whim, because I've said it a few times in this podcast, David Lynch is my favorite director. My favorite thing about David Lynch is the dream logic. Mm-hmm. That he just tries to convey this thing that's so hard to put into words, let alone acting, film,
Yeah.
And to me, it just succeeds so well. The fact that, so she hits the guy, they get out the car, the man's there, then he's not there, and we're not sure if it ever happened. But then, that's when everything goes crazy. And the whole craziness kind of calls back to that moment later. And it's like, oh, that shit is so cool, But at any rate, so they end up in the town, right? This New England town, straight out of a Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft thing. They go into the hotel, just walk into it, and I see that old lady that's in a million movies, right? I know I've watched a lot more older than movies, but y'all recognize her, right?
Yeah.
She's just been in
before.
1,000 movies, Miss Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a reference to H.P. Lovecraft characters. There are some characters with that last name, surname Pickens.
Okay.
And, she claims she has no idea who Sutter Kane is. They go to the room. What happens then? There's that thing with the painting. And she starts saying how all of this is too crazy, that there was a plot. He's like, what are you talking about? She goes, but none of this is what it is. They go outside to go towards this church, the spire that she was pointing out, and they see a mob of men going to the church doors, and they're armed with guns. The church doors open, and there's a child. They close, open up again, and it's Sutter Kane. Mm-hmm. Who's an actor I also know, who I can't put my finger on who he is.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen him before.
He looks like James Edward almost, but he's not. But, so, you see the author, and he's, I don't know how to describe him. He looks like an author type. Mm. I feel like he should look like Stephen King, but that's not how Stephen King looks.
What is he to the townspeople? What's his relation to them? Because they don't seem to take to him very well. I mean, they showed up with guns, but what were they? What was the goal of them being there with guns? They said, "Let him go." Okay,
so they make reference to what was in the books, right? And the things in the books, it being the first thing that goes is children, right? So to me, there's some sort of force, the elder ones inside of there, or, that called Cain, and the first when it came to corrupting the village, I think the first to go were the children. I think that child is the child of the main guy that was leading the pack of armed men, and he wanted to get his kid back, and it was too late. Okay. So they sick a bunch of fucking Dobermans on these losers.
A lot of Dobermans.
Oh, devil dogs.
Ugh. And once you think it's over, you see the Dobermans round the bend, fucking 5 more.
Yep.
And they sick them. That could have been cooler. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It kind of just tumbled over.
It's funny when like movies try to do scenes with dogs, but they kind of just trot out, and you hear all this vicious barking. It's like, I don't know if they're really doing that or not.
I think we could tell their jackets were really thick.
Yeah, they bite the guy on the jacket, just like the police dog training.
Yeah. And so they run off. They go back into the room. Sam Neill's character Trent and Styles, and they have a fight. She tries to kiss him. It's weird.
It's so forced. Like,
well, and of course, the main character is incredulous about the whole thing and says it can't be exactly what the story is about.
Oh, they were so. That's one thing I wrote down. They were super heavy-handed. What's not going to happen to me?
Yeah.
Come on. Like, you should know not to write that.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's one of the things I thought about this movie is I don't think the storytelling is very good at all, but the world building is good.
Yeah.
Like, I think all the environment stuff, all like the atmosphere is good for the most part.
To me, the ideas, sequence of events, and all that stuff, how it's shot, is great, right? Especially now that the weakest part of the movie's over.
Yeah.
At this point, now it is fucking on, and it is fucking sweet. Like, they get separated, and we see the first great practical creature effects.
The door.
The door?
That bloody door that's like pulsing almost, where the old ones are being kept.
It's the old lady. It's an old lady.
Oh,
no, it's she making out with, or going to make out with Sutter Kane, and she touches the back of his head,
fucking
and he has
Voldemort,
a sick ass fucking growth on the back of him, and it's all wet and embryonic and demonic, and we know she's fucked after that. She goes back and she's saying she's lost her mind. And
well, she read the book. She read the whole thing. He takes her and goes like, read the final chapter or something like that.
She has like a projector. It's like this piece of paper like on top of a light.
Yeah.
I did like that. I did like the foreshadowing. I like the visual foreshadowing where they're like flashing scenes of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like the tentacles underneath the door. Like, I thought that was I don't know, it was neat. And especially when they start fucking with that later in the movie and they start changing things.
Yeah.
So like these flashbacks are different than what you remember them. It's neat.
And I love the part where the lady steps on her husband. It's just a butt naked old white dude behind there.
It's like, shut up.
She's like, shut up, bitch. And but yeah, after that everything goes to fucking hell. And is to me the best 20 minutes of the movie, like, by far. And oh man, I like to go through things chronologically and then talk about them, but man, it gets hard at this point.
It totally like spirals out of control,
and I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so I would recommend, like, I like anime. There's a series of OVAs called The Garden of Sinners, right? What an OVA is, it's like I would call it like a made for TV limited series.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shogun, you know, like a series and 6 episodes, an hour long. So there's this anime called Garden of Sinners. And it's the fifth one is the most highly rated. It's amongst the most highly rated of all films and series put together, of all of them. And there is a sequence like in this one where things, the times start lapping over each other and going backwards, and the sequence of events gets choppy, and they you know, there's like a loop. I just started watching The Good Place. I know that you said you were watching. Yeah, I love it.
I'm completely caught up. I love it.
Yeah, and you know how there's an episode called like Jeremy Bury Me?
Yeah, that's the newest one.
He says, "This is time" in The Good Place, and in cursive he writes Jeremy Bury Me, and he loops it back around. That's like how time is in this 20-minute sequence. There are parts which are, like I said,
like when he's trying to drive away and he keeps coming up into the townsfolk.
Yeah. and like when he's driving away, and it's at the point where she hit the guy with the car, and it might as well be she's wearing the exact same clothes as when she did then. That could have happened then.
Yeah.
You know, to me, the little things that make it so great are like when he sees the mob for the first time and he leans on the car, and then now he's leaning on a pool table, and he talks to the villager who we saw try to break into the church with a gun, and he's given up. He domes himself in the mouth with the shotgun, walks out a front door which is only feet away, and he's right back outside from where just moments ago he leaned on his car, and like stuff like that.
I think we need to point out that the main character also is supposedly created by Sutter Kane. You remember that plot point?
Yeah.
And so every character is written a specific way. So I think maybe that might be like a representation of him not sticking to the script, and he's forced back into what he's supposed to be doing.
Okay, I can see that.
What do you think?
Do you think that's probably what also happened with the lady on the bike?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to really
The
suss
old
out
man?
the logic.
Well, no.
Exactly.
No,
Which is great.
whenever she keeps passing by the kid on the bike.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's what's happening? It's just she's trying to do something else, but we're trying to stick
maybe.
to the script.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Until you
Until you accept that this is where you need to go. Well, and that makes sense because he keeps coming back to that place. Nothing works until he drives through.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that was probably the plot point that Sutter Kane wrote for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
We did it.
One thing I wrote about this scene, I don't remember who says it, but someone says, "Fuck you."
I do remember.
He
that.
does.
Who?
Oh no! And the mob, and he's looking at the main mob, and then there's one mob guy on the side. He goes, "Fuck you!"
Yeah.
I really like when the old
You
woman,
fucking townie.
the old woman at the counter doesn't show up, and he's like, "What are you old bitch?" Whoa, what?
What?
If she was back there and just busy, it's like, man, what's your excuse?
But
Real nice.
I don't know. Are there any scenes or things y'all want to talk about from this before we get to the culmination?
Not really.
Where he confronts Sutter Kane in the cathedral?
Not really. One thing I did like about his confrontation, though, is he says, "Your books suck."
I did like that. But you know what? That was a sick burn.
Yeah.
Like
For your own character to tell you that.
Yeah. So he goes into the cathedral to confront him.
Oh, that's like dipping into the psyche. He knows his book isn't good.
Ooh.
And he's basically like, it's all been said, it's all been done. They start off in the confessional, which is nice.
That was a nice one.
Yeah. Oh, here's something else that's cool about the location. So the cathedral they shot in is a cathedral. It's dedicated to the Transfiguration.
Okay.
Which I think is like thematically like pretty cool and perverse. Like the Transfiguration being the sacrament
from blood to wine to blood.
When the priest conducts a miracle of the worldly bread being transformed into the blood and
the literal
blood and body of Jesus Christ. And so the fact that in real life that cathedral is the Cathedral of Transfiguration is like pretty thematically cool, I think. And but Sutter Kane basically says that, you know, he thought he was writing the books, but all along it was, I'm gonna call them the elder ones.
I think they're
the old
ones. Yeah.
Super Lovecraftian.
I don't know do they say old ones in the
I don't think
show.
so.
But like in everything Lovecraftian, it's the old ones, right? Yeah. And that they're going to come again, you know, that they were here before, and that the belief just speeds up their journey. And he tears a face in himself, and from there is this portal. And so like, you know what's crazy is like how good of a job when he's running through the H.R. Geiger tunnel, right? Y'all know who H.R. Geiger is, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so he's running through that tunnel, and behind him is those things chasing him. And they're huge animatronics and practical effects. They look fantastic. It's the coolest realization of, you know, the Lovecraftian unspeakable shit, you know, that's ever been brought forth, in my opinion. And, like, you know, we were talking about, like, the budget. Like, that was seconds.
Yeah.
Him running through the H.R. Geiger tunnel with all those things behind him.
Yeah.
Seconds.
Yeah.
You know?
And poor lighting on purpose, but, like, you don't really get to see all their work.
That was so cool, though. The points where, like, the lighting and lack thereof is used for creative purposes.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
if it was, like, normal lighting, you'd be like, oh, these are obviously
these look like
animatronic
shit.
things. So.
But there's also that part of you that remembers being a child, being in a dark room, and all you can see is the faintest shapes of dim light on the other corner. And you swear that if you look at it long enough,
it's
something's gonna form out of it.
Yeah.
And
those animatronics rock. I really liked how they look.
But, like, it also fucking blows that, like,
yeah,
it's there, but at the same time, if it had overstayed its welcome, it could have gone cheesy. It could have.
See, I think it did get to
everything.
that point with that when he's running through the tunnel. I think that was just too much with the things like manifesting physically and going after him. I think it's more interesting when it's kept under wraps to a point.
To a point.
Do you think,
like, if you see something in the shadow just kind of move, that's cool. But, like, when I'm actually seeing the full figure of it, it's like, this is no longer this mysterious eldritch being. This is a physical thing that looks kind of like a dog, but a little fucked up.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand that.
Danny, chime on him for like a minute. I'm gonna grab a beer.
Chime on me.
Right. I don't know. Like, I think they didn't last too long showing off. You remember when the old lady becomes the beast?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That shit was cool.
Yeah, I think that was a good amount to show, because it's just like, you know,
yes,
he runs
fine.
away immediately.
Yeah.
You catch a hard look at it. And it's disgusting. It's horrible.
And half of
I'm
it is
terrified.
obscured and dark anyway.
Yeah. So I think I understand both of y'all's point of view, because I appreciate the animatronics and how it looks, and I like the idea that, you know, we can visualize something like this happening, and they did a good job of it, you know, even with the lighting. But I do understand that like there's something about Lovecraftian things that it
took the power out of them to me.
Looking at them is a sin. You know what I mean? Like, looking at them is something you shouldn't be doing.
And here I am, looking at it.
Well, what I was gonna say is I like it, but at the same hand, it is completely antithetical. To Lovecraftian horror, which is to describe the undescribable and to let your imagination do the rest.
Okay.
So it is both so pleasurable because it's so good to see practical effects masterfully done for someone to try to do that, but at the same time it is also completely antithetical to the Lovecraftian goal, which is, you know, and but
so, well, let's get to the end, and then I want to pose a question regarding that.
Right, so he runs through. He thinks he gets out of the town. Thinks he destroys the manuscript. He doesn't. It was delivered. He's then speaking to the publishing owner. Says, "Dude, you already sent this months ago. Time has no meaning anymore. The shit has already been gone." Sam Neill. I really like the scenes where, because the dream logic doesn't end until like the very end. Like when he's back in the insane asylum, we can assume things are going as normal. But when he's waking up in the bus and then back on the bus and then like, oh, that part's so cool.
It's like when he wakes up a couple times on the couch. That part got to me. Like that little jump scare part where it's the cop sitting next to him in the couch. It's just like, oh, what the fuck? Like, and you know that's how fucked up it would be to wake up and then wake up again. Like,
oh yeah, I love that. The wake up, the not woken up, then you wake up.
Yeah. It's cool.
Oh man, back in Palacios, we call that one a fake out.
You wake up, but you don't wake up.
But you wake up, but you don't wake up. But then you do wake up, and your homeboy puts your hand in some cold water.
Nice.
That's a horror movie. That's body horror.
So the last scene.
End of the world.
He's in the movie.
Yeah, the
theater.
apocalypse has come.
Yep.
He's delivered the manuscript. Everyone's crazy because they've read it. Or
Yep.
the book.
They saw the movie.
Oh, yeah, the movie
Yeah.
came out. That's right.
I kept on feeling like, did y'all feel like there's a joke here? And it just didn't come to me.
There's
Like,
just
you've read the book,
this
now see the movie?
Not so
Yeah.
subtle fourth wall humor that was, like, maybe lazy. I don't know.
like maybe, like, to me it's so unnecessary. Right? Where it's like, maybe they meant for it to be a joke or something, somehow. And I
Right.
don't get the joke. I don't get.
See, and that's
I
why
don't get the more biting satire version.
That's why Ebert
or the
said,
joke.
like,
I don't get either side.
it missed
of
an
where it could be.
opportunity to be a satire when it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have had the opportunity to begin with. I don't think, which is what that scene kind of implies. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean so we find him back in the asylum. We hear violent sounds outdoors. He goes out. There's blood, destroyed area, and then he walks into a movie theater.
I like the radio transmission that's playing as he's walking out.
Yeah.
We're talking about how everything is horrible, and it's just like, please, if anyone is still sane.
Yeah. On the marquee it says starring Trent,
Yeah.
and he sits down and he just watches a supercut of the events of the film, and he realizes that Sutter Kane was right, or that at least either he's explicitly right, or he might. That's also what I like. It's either, is it that Sutter Kane is explicitly right in that he wrote, and by
Yeah.
power of him writing, Trent was born,
Mm-hmm.
or is it that things have progressed in this way that he wrote beforehand, and that it might as well be, so it is spiritually right, Either way, he sees his life unfold on the screen, everything that happens, and he breaks into maniac laughter, and then Metallica.
Yes.
In the Metallica.
Totally taking away
Fitting
any
in.
significance
Fitting in.
you might have found.
And that was In the Mouth of Madness. Da 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 da. What y'all think? Like I said several times, I'm
This is
super
a weird.
glad.
This is a weird
I liked
movie,
it.
which is why I want to ask: what would you give this out of 10?
I'd give this a 6.
7.
See, wow, that's funny. I was thinking 6.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're pretty consistent on it. So like things that were good, but like overall execution is like, I don't know.
Yeah, like the thing about it is, so
Like noble in its effort.
I the way I approach scary movies or any type of horror movie is, I don't understand horror movies. Not that I don't like them, I don't understand them. I feel like to be a movie fan is completely different to being a horror movie fan.
Yeah, I would. I would
There's,
second that.
there's an appreciation to the craft that goes into it. There's an appreciation for horror movies they're referential. It's important for them to take the idea of something and build on it or flourish it in a certain way. And that's why I feel like for me personally, I didn't really get the movie. It felt like it was talking to someone that is a fan of horror movies, and I'm not it.
It felt to me like it was a jumble of ideas that were cool on first glance, and then they put them together, and that's what happened. That's what it created.
Well, to me, like, I'm gonna meet y'all both. It's like, so I don't think this is a horror movie for horror fans.
You don't think so?
No, I don't even.
In fact,
I don't
would
even
say
think it's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie for not horror fans. There's nothing gratuitous about it that horror movie fans demand. There's not a final girl. There's not gratuitous gore.
Yeah.
There's none of that stuff that is straight up genre fixtures of horror movies.
Okay.
Most of the horror is all conceptual.
Right. There's one thing. jump scares.
Mm.
That's a clear marker of horror movies, which is present in this movie. Which, what sucks, I was talking to Victoria, my wife, when we pulled up here, I was still thinking about the movie, and I just went, fuck. And she was like, what's wrong? I was like, I love horror. I love horror fiction. It's my favorite thing to read. I love horror movies, but I am a skittish person by nature, and I fucking hate jump scares.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And so I
do
can't-
not like jump scares.
No, I think that's cheap. I think that totally belittles whatever.
So
There's
I'm
such a
always-
difference
movie was
between
making.
being scared and being frightened.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like I'm always so slow to get to good horror movies because of stuff like jump scares. They just like bother me so much. It's so uncomfortable, and they're not even the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, what are we gushing
It's
about?
cheap, yeah,
You know,
it's stupid.
We're gushing about like the dream logic, the editing. You know, whatever John Carpenter did with the directing and the editing is the real hero in this movie. Like, that shit was like awesome.
Yeah.
But
strong suits, world building, editing.
yeah,
That's it. Yeah, that's
And-
what makes this movie interesting.
concept,
Yeah.
weak points,
Acting.
dialogue, acting.
I guess you could debate
Metallica.
storytelling logic.
It's
Even though Metallica is never at fault,
never.
I don't even care if they're with Lou Reed singing about a table. I don't care. Metallica is never at fault, but
Worship.
they blatantly despise you. That's my Lou Reed impression. But no, but the thing is with this movie, I don't know if I've ever seen a movie where I loved something so much, like that 30 minutes
Yeah.
of shit spiraling out of control, the dream logic, that I think has almost never been captured so well, even by David Lynch, right? Especially with the sequential stuff. That is the coolest thing. Packed with so much shit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a weird package.
there's just like shitty scenes, and there's shitty details, there's hokey moments, there's things that, like, I don't want to be harsh on the fact that when they shot the axe guy, like, but there were movies that shot people really well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
like,
gotta
and
have a complete
this is a horror movie.
You
It's
can't
like-
you can't take shortcuts.
It's not hokey in a charming way. It's not, you know,
It's hokey in a they didn't spend enough time on this or thought.
It's
Yeah.
not hokey in a cohesive way.
True, yeah.
It could have been a certain way, but been cohesive, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's part of this movie is this awesome idea and vision that John Carpenter had with the script, you know, that he was able to bring with the set design, the actors and everything. And then there's this shit,
yeah.
you know, and like he's not to blame. Like, acting is the job of the director. A lot of people give directors pass. People like to give directors credit for cinematography work and then like avoid the fact that a lot of bad acting is their fault.
Yeah.
But like the bad acting is his fault, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and he had enough juice for casting too. Like I said, I think Sam Neill did a pretty good job, but it could have been done even better. You know, if they could have just done something to like not break the suspense of disbelief. Like, say if you could have established the eerie tone at the beginning, like this could be a masterpiece. And that's the fun thing about, to me, us talking about the movie is, like, I could imagine.
You could see how good
Where
this
this
movie
is-
could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, since we're kind of on the subject, this is something I wrote down. Can this genre be appropriately translated to the screen? Are movies just too overt with storytelling? As opposed to video games like Bloodborne, where you can observe and move at your own pace.
Ooh.
Take out the hokey acting. Is the success of cosmic horror totally predicated within video games and books? Is it predicated on lore more than storytelling?
Danny, you go first.
I would say no, because there are scenes, you know, and this is proof. There are scenes in this movie where the pace of the movie adds to the delusion.
Yeah.
It adds to, you know, to the delirium of
That's true.
this guy.
That's probably the best point I could think of.
and it forces you to follow at that pace. And I think it forcing you to do that, you know, lends to the fear and to the, you know, just abject terror
Right.
I'm not in control of time.
Right. And the convergence of a fever dream and dream logic.
Yeah.
Dreams are short in nature. Like a dream is only on average like 5 minutes. You know, no matter how much you feel like transpired. And this movie does a fantastic job of doing that. But we're talking about like cosmic horror. In reference to Bloodborne, I'm playing Bloodborne right now.
Oh, awesome.
And you know, the Eldritch part is one part, you know? And then a lot of it is other things. But I know for a fact, because I watch a lot of YouTube, there are games that deal with, that try to do this experience as a game with unreliable narration, like weird hallucinations.
I've heard the Evil Within does some stuff like that.
Oh,
no. No? Have you played it?
yeah. Like, I'm a big Resident Evil guy, but like, that's like saying that, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Like U-Bowl does horror? I don't know. That's way too mean, because Murakami is responsible for a lot of the best Resident Evil things, but
Not that one.
nah. It's
Okay, where are you in Bloodborne?
in Bloodborne. I killed the witch of
Of Himwick?
Hemwick.
You have a lot to learn. You will see.
Yeah, but
There's so much.
I've seen the playthroughs.
All of it?
Yeah, I watched my roommate beat all of it.
Okay. You still got to experience it though for
Amygdala?
yourself.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part, and I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Oh, Amygdala.
There's so much there.
Have mercy on the poor
Yeah.
bastard soul.
If you ever want to play, hit me up.
But
I'm always down to play some
what-
co-op Bloodborne.
Yeah, what I wanted to bring up, why I think Bloodborne is maybe, personally, it's one of my favorite games, but why I think it maybe nails the genre like nothing else has, is the fact that you can take it at your own pace, and there is nobody telling you, nobody in your ear saying this stuff or whatever. You are observing this entire universe. Like, that character you created, that's like your vessel.
Yeah.
It's up to you to be horrified. You discover this. Like you were saying earlier, you peel back the layers and
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, jeez.
And
like,
you're reading all this stuff.
Well,
And
what-
the strength of those games is also not the storytelling, it's the lore. It's everything that's happened in the past that you're kind of unraveling.
But you know what, Chris? When you're talking about what strength does the video game medium have, and also what we talked about, the cardinal sin of this movie, which is also great, which is showing the thing you shouldn't show, right?
Yeah.
With environmental storytelling, like in Bloodborne and in some of the Fallout games, you get to use your imagination.
yeah.
So, like last night, I beat the witch of and I beat that bitch. I whooped her ass, just like characters do in all the movies we talk about. How they beat up women. I did that, but it was a witch. Punched her right in the goddamn face.
Nice.
And then you go to this room, right behind it, and there's a hunter strapped to the chair,
Yeah, with the runes.
and he's bleeding profusely, but his face is all weathered, and in the room right behind you where you just fought, there's all these body bags hanging from the rafters. And so I'm thinking, what happened here?
Yeah.
What happened? You know, what did
That's-
they do to him?
That's basically what,
Like-
what I'm saying is, I think really, unless someone can come up with something crazy in the form of a movie, I really think books and video games are the only way to really appropriately capture the genre.
Like I think you could get closer and closer to it. I think
It'd have
that
to be like a weird art house film, though.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I think this movie got really close with the descent into insanity and bringing the viewer along for it.
Yeah.
So that part was something extremely unique that this movie could bring to this idea of cosmic horror. Like I said, I love and am glad that all the weird monster effects were in this movie. But what I think you need, Chris, is something that is like stark and brief. And my example, I don't know if you guys know, have you all ever seen The Exorcist or The Exorcist 2?
I mean, I've seen the first one, yeah.
Okay, there's a brief split second where you see a demon's face.
Pazuzu?
Pazuzu. And that is one of the coolest, best things ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fact that that's it. It's a flash.
Subtlety goes a long way.
Right.
Addition by subtraction.
Right. So, like in film, I think they did a great job of, you would want to replicate and maybe expand artistically and vividly what they did with the dream sequence. Like when shit starts spiraling, you know, you want it to have a crescendo. This movie had a crescendo, which is really good. It's just the beginning sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for a good song, you want the beginning of the crescendo to be enjoyable. Whereas this one, it's just a means to an end.
And the beginning didn't have to suck. That's why I'm leaving
Exactly.
it open to...
It doesn't have to suck.
Unless somebody could come along and make an incredible movie of this genre.
Right.
But I don't know if it's really happened yet.
No, it hasn't. And I've seen the majority of H.P. Lovecraft adaptations. There's
I think there's a reason they're not really well universally critically acclaimed.
well,
hard to make, yeah.
And then some of them are like The Reanimator, which isn't even cosmic horror, and so that one's like gory and sci-fi. And then there's Binche, what's it called? Dagon. That movie's really cool, but also with that one, the acting blows. But and that it's called Dagon, but it's actually an adaptation of The Shadows over Innsmouth.
Oh, yeah.
But that if I recommend anything, dear listener, it's read The Shadow over Innsmouth, or if you have Spotify, you can find it, and it's a fantastic reading of it. Okay. And it is the most solid. I guarantee you guys, if you listen to it, it holds up so goddamn well. It's so hard to believe that was 100 years ago, almost, that was written. But yeah, man.
I'm glad you picked it because it gave me an excuse to talk about Bloodborne for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I've done for God knows how many hours on podcasts.
Like Bloodborne is like environmentally the best game I've ever played. The whole reason why I played it was because of watching my roommate like fight bosses in the cathedrals, and just like how accurately the design team captured all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can't go to Europe or like the 3 churches in Mexico, like that's your best way of actually getting the feeling of being in one of those cathedrals. Like, you know, it's so otherworldly. And but yeah, that was this movie.
That was fun.
It was.
It was different, for sure.
Yeah.
Was that the first movie? Well, no, Max Knight. I was going to say the first movie that wasn't, like, well received on all ends.
On all ends?
I would say this is the only one.
Yeah.
I think Max Knight was perfect.
No, I mean critically, not by us.
Well, critically as well.
Did critics even review Max Knight?
I don't...
Well,
I mean,
is it even a movie? Like,
well, it is the first movie where we spend a good time saying like, these parts of it blew.
Yeah.
And not being like,
yeah,
isn't that cool?
Not being like, that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh,
Oh man.
Like, man, that sucked.
No, it was just one big train wreck. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a hell of a time.
Yeah.
I would say I enjoyed it. I think it took a good stab at that genre.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the genre is honestly talking about it.
Yeah.
It's like a trans narrative almost. Like it just comes out of the TV. It just, I don't know. We've made it more than what the movie is.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. You can expand on it.
Yeah. I definitely want to. I think I want to buy this movie. Like I think that part where things just go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Those like I said, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that executes that so well. Except, like I said, there's this one anime film, and there's The Lost Highway by David Lynch that do a pretty good job. But, like, even as dream logic-y as Eraserhead is, which is his most, what's the word? Abstract film, his first film.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the pacing doesn't do the creative things that this movie does. And that alone, like, I'm still floor bound by how they came up with that and how it matches with, like, for me, like the dreams I've had and like and the feeling that you're losing grip,
Yeah.
but it's familiar enough. So, like I said, I'm so glad I followed through and watched this movie.
There's an episode of The Sopranos after Tony gets shot where he's like he's in a coma,
Yeah.
and it does dream logic in a way that when I watched it, I was like, that is how dreams work.
Yeah.
I had never even thought about it, like the way it jumps back and forth through different things. I was like, wow, they captured that really well.
Which episode?
It was season 6 after Junior shoots Tony.
Junior shoots
Okay.
Tony in the stomach.
I have not seen that. I may have seen that episode once 8 years ago.
It's so.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
It's a weird episode
Because I don't remember "Don't Stop Believing" playing that.
I think also when he's having dreams after they kill Pussy, those
Big
dreams
Big Pussy or
Big
Little
Pussy,
Pussy?
Big Pussy.
Big Pussy.
When they kill him, those dreams with the fish,
yeah,
where he's
yeah.
walking on the boardwalk, like those
Yeah,
are
and
really good.
the thing about it is, you don't know it's a dream at first, of course, and it's just like happening, and that's exactly I think they captured that really well. But that episode is crazy because like he'll be like leaning over the sink and his teeth will fall out. Then all of a sudden it transitions and he's on a horse in his living room, and it's like, this is a dream.
Do you guys ever have dreams where your teeth fall out?
Yep.
Nope.
Mine all the time.
Yep. When I was
Chris
watching, when we
was
were
telling me
watching
that.
The Sopranos, I didn't remember that part, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is a thing that happened. Like, people dream about this, all the time.
It's weird. I've never had my teeth fall out in a dream.
Yeah, all the time. Almost every dream.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Not almost
Miserable.
every dream, but it happens a
Fucking
few times
terrible.
a year.
You wake up in a panic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh, yeah. But, man.
Yeah, no, yeah. Thanks for that movie because like I enjoyed it. Like
Yeah.
I would say my experience was overall pleasant.
You know, that's what I like about our podcast. We may not have a theme cohesively. The theme is we are going desperate places.
We're gonna try it.
We're covering the map.
Yeah.
All right, we're going from LA to New York. And thank you for joining us. But Big Chris,
Yes.
what was the movie that you
Yeah.
had to
All right.
fucking
I got it
street
Just fucking
I
had
got
to.
it right here.
the
Just fucking had to.
goddamn rug? Is that it physically?
Yes, the reason
It's
I
the
brought
hat.
it, the reason I brought it out here physically is because I ordered it from a foreign place, and it's not a region-free Blu-ray, so I can't give it to you to borrow. But I wanted you to see.
Chris has hidden.
I wanted you to see the cover because it's very cool. It's a 1977 film by director Wim Wenders called The American Friend. It's it's kind of a noirish story, but it's very much so a mixture of like Taxi Driver and In Bruges and like
Cool.
I would say even a little main plot of Breaking Bad in it.
Ooh. Very
Deutsch.
excited.
Lucky for me, I speak German.
You sprechen?
But it's
does
on
that
Amazon
mean?
Prime.
You speak.
On Amazon Prime?
Yep. For $2.99.
This is fantastic.
The only thing I'll have to say about it, because I want to talk about it like when we're discussing the whole movie. But
Okay.
atmosphere's so thick, you can cut it with a knife. Like
Ooh.
it's a beautiful movie.
The screenshots are really pretty on the back, particularly this one and that one. Look at the colors right here.
Oh wow.
A lot of neon, a lot of bright colored
like
cars.
how the explosion
Yeah.
is the same color tone as the car.
Huh.
Dennis Hopper's in it.
That's what I noticed. I was like,
Strangely enough.
all right, guys, give it to the people again.
The American Friend,
The American
1977.
1977.
Wim Wenders. Have a good time.
Have a good rhyme.